Hello my soul family, welcome to today's spirituality retreat for this full moon in Taurus. This is a very special event today. Remember, the spirituality retreat is a two-part event. We begin with our spiritual talk over some nice coffee to talk about the energies and what I'm feeling is coming up for this moon cycle, and then we always end with a very short and sweet symbol healing session. Definitely don't want to miss out. That's always at the end of the event, so stay tuned and stay put to the end of this event for our healing session. Now, this is a very special moment today because we are also in an eclipse energy. So I also forgot to introduce myself. My name is Christy Ramirez and I'm a health and wellness expert. I am the founder, the creator of my health and wellness brand, Body, Mind, and Spirit. I offer tips and programs and series as well on my holistic nutrition series, meditation series, and yoga series. I have programs as well year-round. Check out everything that I offer as part of this brand, christyramirez.com/health and wellness. It is very healing, and everything that I do in this brand, I created it because not only does it make us accountable to our health and wellness, but health is a priority. Health is wealth, right? Doesn't matter what you do for a living, we should always show up here for ourselves. And these spirituality retreats are like a spiritual practice and also a way of spiritual maintenance to make sure that we are in alignment, that we are pure, we're cleansed, and we're in the right thinking, right? It really helps to clarify a lot of what the energy is and what we might be feeling, especially if you're sensitive beings like myself, right? And you're on the journey. We need to remember that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not humans having a spiritual experience. So when we remember this, we can have more compassion where we're out on the journey and not feel like we're also alone, because you're never alone on this journey. Okay, so that's point number one for this full moon in Taurus. This is going to be a ceremony today, and let's talk about the eclipse energy, because this eclipse energy is really bringing in like this turnaround. That's what an eclipse is, right? If you think about it astronomically, an eclipse is when the moon goes absolutely black, right? And it's like the opposite view, like something of an anomaly, right? Something of an exception. And I feel like that energy is definitely coming in. There's definitely huge detours, turnarounds that were unexpected, right? We might have thought that we were going in one direction, but we're being guided in another, because perhaps it's the timing of it. Maybe it's the better route to take in this moment, okay? Because there's a lot of things happening worldwide that are also influencing this. And this is something that I definitely do not want to bring into today's conversation, but there's serious stuff that I feel like this energy is also going to bring in. Shocking news, and it might even affect our life, right? Because believe it or not, whether we want to believe it or not, we're still going through very tumultuous moments worldwide, with lockdowns and with, this whole thing happening, this epidemic now, right? And, it's not necessarily clear and safe out in the world yet, as people want to believe, because that's part of the rebellion that has come about, which I've mentioned a lot last year, right? I did kind of predict, you can say, that this was going to happen, because this is what this Aquarius energy does bring in as well. We are in the beginning stages of Age of Aquarius, Aquarian energy, or if you know anybody with Aquarius energy in them, or you have some Aquarius in your chart, in your astrology chart, there's a lot of rebelliousness, but there's also a lot of revolutionariness, right? A lot of wanting to do something very creative and out of the ordinary, because that's what revolutionary is, right? It's creating something completely original. And that's what is the productive way of using this energy, right? It's through creativity, letting that be our outlet, our artistic creative outlet, because I feel like there is this sacral chakra energy that's definitely coming up for most of us, and it's manifesting as creativity if you're using it wisely. And of course, if you're using it in the misuse of a way or rebelliousness way, you're giving that energy away, right? It could be either sexually, or it can be through impulsivity, right? Impulsive creativity, or impulsivity, believe it or not, is actually can be an opposite of artisticness, right? Because It's kind of weird that I'm thinking about it this way, but I'm thinking about, I've worked many years with juvenile delinquency teenagers. They were teenagers / young adults, and I was in that job for like 2 years, where I had to drive to these children's home and give them mandated therapy, which means they didn't want to be there, right? Because it was courted by law and they had committed some juvenile delinquency felon, right? And so they had to seek therapy, and I was the one that would show up. And what I learned from these experiences with juvenile delinquent children or teenagers is that they were just lacking this outlet. They were bored with their life as well. Why do children steal? Why do teenagers get out of school and skip class? Because they're bored and they have nothing better to do, and they're wanting to get that adrenaline rush, that excitement back in life, that passion. And I feel like that is what's coming with Taurus, because remember, Taurus is a very stable energy as well. I'm a Taurus, so I can tell you I'm very Taurus, right? I'm a very Taurus, but the feminine and the masculine Tauruses are also quite different, okay? Because I've noticed this. I know a lot of Taurus men as well, including in my family. My father's a Taurus, so it's very different between the masculine and the feminine, but I think there is a merging of that between all masculines and feminines, right? Coming to like a middle ground, an understanding, a reconcilement, and a resolution, right? And that I feel like is also coming worldwide, because remember, everything that happens in our personal life will definitely mirror what's happening collectively. So there will be solutions coming up to close these cycles that we've all been through, right? And we're definitely opening up a new chapter, especially as we begin 2022. That's going to be more focused and oriented towards the spiritual mission, which I did do a whole Lightworker University presentation on this topic on what to expect for the next year, and maybe even a little ahead as well, what the next 2 to 3 years are about, 2022 to 2024, and then ahead in the future, right? Because the future, I feel, begins after 2024, okay? And of course, I haven't been looking into the future like that, because God only, and like I was saying, I also think that, bringing back this example of me working with juvenile delinquency children, I do feel like there's kind of like this forceful energy coming through as well with this eclipse, more than the full moon in Taurus. And it's something that we've been like basically postponing over postponing. It's kind of something that you have been leaving for last, but now it is requiring our attention. And the reason that I say this is because this full moon in Taurus is also a very peculiar one, right? Because astrologically, there's like a small fact. We should have been having a full moon in Taurus like twice before, I think within the past few years, and it's been kind of skipped astrologically. So again, this is why I say this is things that we've been skipping, maybe even once or twice, and now it's time to finally confront it. Okay, and this could be anything. Again, this is very much related to endings. I'm feeling like something that needs to be ended and begun anew, right? Because you're obviously being thrust into this new direction for some reason that we don't know about. And this is something where you trust divine guidance and you just trust God wherever He's taking you on your path. And so this is definitely forceful energy, but it's divine intervention. It's divine force. Remember that God's source is the greatest force of them all. So God is wanting to help us and bring us into a better environment as well, perhaps somewhere where we can thrive, because this is what the energy is about as well with Taurus and with this full moon. This is about thriving. You need to feel like you're in a space and a place where you can thrive into your fullest potential. Discover what you're made of. I feel like we have yet to discover what we're made of, because we're always evolving beings as humans, right? And this is not only on an individual personal level, how much we can evolve, but also on a collective level, humanity-wise. This is part of the cosmic experiment that these higher beings are very much observing, is how not only fast, but how gracefully can we evolve to the next dimension without needing to repeat so many karmic loops over and over. Because I feel like this is also another theme definitely happening, not for everybody, okay, but me as an observer, I kind of see this in people's lives. And it's interesting because we're all functioning at different timelines as well. And this is the beauty about cosmic awareness. Something that I was talking about in my Cosmic Consciousness show, specifically in episode 1, which is on my YouTube channel. But I'm definitely going to bring in more of a new show soon in my School of Light to talk more about the cosmic energies. Because when I first began my business and my School of Light, I did have a show where I delved more into the cosmos. But everything's being redone, right? With like my logo professionally. So that show hasn't been redone yet. So obviously it's not available in my School of Light, but I've already learned a lot of the information. And this is part of one of the things that was very prominent and very important for all of us to realize, so that we can understand the bigger picture, which is, it's not all about us. It's about our future generations and the evolvement of humanity. Like the ancient civilization of Atlantis, they were fully evolved, okay? And the reason that they were so successful and highly intelligent, and they lived their golden era basically. And remember, the ancient Egyptians followed right after them. The ancient Egyptians are not the oldest civilization. We know that Atlantis is, right? But then once Atlantis sank, this is part of the legend, okay, that I truly believe is true. There were only like 2 survivors from the Atlantis civilization. And there were others as well, that they became the Lemurians when they started to mingle with the humans, right? Because remember, Atlantis, there's like many different stories about Atlantis. Some say that, you know, it was from another planet, right? And their planet was getting destroyed, and another legend says that Atlantis sank. But I believe that the Atlantis that sank wasn't necessarily Atlantis. It was Mu, which was the continent that sank, and inhabited in that continent on Earth, okay, was the Atlanteans combined with the humans, hence the babies of it, which made the Lemurians, okay? And that's why Lemurians and Mur sound very similar, right? Because Lemurians has Mur in it. And that's the Atlantis that sank. It was like the next generation of Atlantis, right? And the Lemurians, these were the good Atlanteans, because they were Atlanteans that obviously they didn't survive because they were the ones misusing the power, and greed took over, you know, with all the knowledge and the high intelligence that they had. You know, remember, power can be either a good thing or a bad thing. It's how you use it. And this is also a reminder of this. How you use power is going to dictate basically your destiny and your judgment, and by God. And that's kind of what happened. And so what we bring into this, so the survivors of that civilization, it was said, which interesting enough, Mur was very closely located to Egypt, which is on the top of Africa. And the ancient Egyptians, it was the ancient Egyptians who were said that the Atlantis are very correlated with the Sirius star, which is also where Jesus came from. This is more cosmic information here. But it was said that it was them, not the humans, but it was them in the civilization acting as humans, you can say, that helped to build the Great Sphinx and the pyramids, right? And in those pyramids and Sphinx, we all know that there's a lot of powerful energy vortex, even to this day. And why it's very important that it be preserved, right? And we're all hearing that there's been tragedies happening in Egypt. I kind of took a glimpse of that, and it came across into my path to read that there's strange things happening in Egypt with scorpions. And look at this, last spirituality retreat, I mentioned as an example the scorpion, right? Because we were in the Scorpio energy, but I had no idea about this event. So this is just telling you that what I'm channeling is very accurate, because I'm channeling it from somewhere, right? And this is metaphors as well as to what to look out for. And again, what happened in there in Egypt, this is very recent, was that these scorpions went crazy, right? And they started, like, you know, hurting people. And that's again what I did mention in the last week, in the last spirituality retreat, that this scorpion energy, which is the new one in Scorpio that we just had, was going to bring in also, you know, all the good things that we mentioned about passion and rebirth and rising of the phoenix, but also like this crabbiness in a way, like needing to watch out for like this cleverness and not being impulsive ourselves, right? Not us being the scorpion and being impulsive with life in whatever way that could mean, because there can always be maybe something that you overlooked, right? And so it's about retreating in your shell a little bit, like a little bit of a hermit. But with this full moon in Taurus, remember Taurus rules many things, right? Taurus can rule money even. Taurus can rule definitely stability and groundedness, a lot of earthiness, a lot of nature coming in. But it also rules, you know, like I'm hearing like hearth, which is like agriculture, right? In Greek mythology, there's a goddess of the hearth. So I feel like this is what's going to heal us, spending time in nature, or at least, you know, watching nature or creating a nature environment. But also, I had this on my mind. We all know that beauty as well, because remember, Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus rules beauty, love as well, right? Tauruses are very romantic lovers, and they are hopeless romantics as well. So again, I think this is about also giving it a try when it comes to love again. Even though you've been hurt in the past, again, the Scorpion energy, right? This is this hurt that we've all dealt with in the past. These Scorpion deceptive energies from past relationships, which can create traumas, but we're being guided to definitely let that go and release, right? Because think of Mother Gaia. I feel like Taurus is very much like Mother Gaia. And guess what? Taurus energy, which Taurus season, is May. And May is the month of Mother Mary, along with September. So this is Mother Mary also coming in to help us to heal, return us to innocence, to purity, and help us to feel more loving as she was to Jesus. And with this full moon in Taurus as well, I definitely feel like it's going to bring a lot of self-love, you know, this beauty that we radiate from the inside out. It's not external, it's internal. And that's what we need to work on. We need to work on being more beautiful people from the inside, right? Beautiful souls. Don't focus so much on being beautiful on the outside. That's a great thing when you are already beautiful on the inside, because that's kind of like an accentuation and like a plus, right? It's like the final touch to the beauty that you're radiating from within. Because you can try to mask all you want and make yourself beauty on the outside, but if your internal self is very like basically the opposite, ugly, and very either selfish or envious as well, because remember, that will radiate from the inside out, and that will make anyone look ugly, whether or not they're attractive. Because especially if you see with your third eye, you know, I see people with my third eye, and I see people for who they are. Their soul within will radiate through their flesh. I don't see people through the mask that they wear, which is our flesh, right? And that's how we should walk about in the world, is seeing people for who they really are, because that's going to determine whether or not they should be a part of your life or not, right? Whether you should associate with them or not, because that will influence your life and your energy as well. So this is definitely about choosing wisely who we spend our time with, because these are critical moments and difficult decisions that we need to make, but our future depends on it. And it might hurt others, but you know what? Don't care what other people think, because this is about you and the mission and the light work. And the light work comes before anybody else, right? Before the humans, because as light workers, we're trying to help humanity. So we need to make sure that we are in the purest of vibrations so that we may continue to show up for our light work. And that's what definitely this energy of eclipse is about, is definitely testing our ability to be reliable on this mission and continue to show up no matter what. And that's why we need to basically protect our energy, our aura, and just make sure that we are in places where we feel good, where we feel the light is, not the dark. And this is for each individual to determine, but this is definitely a strong guidance coming in. And I do want to go into more detail before we bring an oracle reading. We're going to do that at the very end. I also feel like this is definitely about the next level, okay? The eclipse energy is bringing up the eclipse, like the next level. I don't know, I keep seeing that, but it's the next level from the new moon to the full moon. Whatever you've been doing from this past new moon in Scorpio, or at least building up for this full moon in Taurus, now is the time to move up the next level, okay? Because this is about transformation, continuous evolution of our soul, whatever goals you're working on in life, projects, and mastering your craft, right? Your arts and crafts. And this is definitely what's going to keep us also very much in our light, right? When we're creative, when we're loving what we're doing, when we're passionate about life, and when we love our life, that's what's going to shine through, and that's what the world needs. Definitely a lot of unconditional love for self to begin with, and then for others where they're at on their journey. Remember, we're all functioning on different timelines, which I kind of mentioned prior, but we didn't finish that conversation, that we're all functioning on different timelines. So someone in the same timeline that you find yourselves in might be repeating an experience that you've already dealt with in your past, and that's what's called different timelines. And you need to be surrounded by people, specifically the close people that you associate with, right? The people you're doing projects with together, collaborating, business partnerships, friendships, lovers, right, partners, family and friends even. They need to be at your same not only level, but also same timeline, frequency, and vibration. Those are a lot of prerequisites, right? But that's how it is. And trust me that it's a lot less work than we think. Naturally, through the law of attraction, we will attract that into our lives. So we don't necessarily even need to go looking for it or worry about it showing up, because it will just magically show up on its own. And that's where, again, we also need to trust blindly. Blind faith is going to help us through these times, because a lot of people, especially on the lightworker mission, may find themselves, walking the journey alone, like the alchemist. And it's, he does find people along the journey, but not everyone is meant to be on the journey for the rest of the journey, right? For the long haul, because there are distractions. So he needed to know, but that was part of the lesson of his journey, who to let go, who to cut off as well. He cut off a lot of thieves from his journey who were trying to get on him and steal from him, because he was trying to bring some gold to the other side of the journey so that he could marry his princess, basically, right? He was promised gold, a new home, and a princess, something like that, a new world, basically. And that's kind of a metaphor that we're all going through, right? This new world that we're after, this new earth that is at the end of the journey, on the finish line. But we need to know how to be wise along the journey, right? Because amidst the journey, there will be tests and challenges, right? It could be either or, right? Because a test is different than a challenge. A challenge is just a struggle to test your own inner spiritual strength, faith, and capability, right? And willingness to keep moving forward. Whereas a test is more like, testing if you are, on the right path, you can say. So it's very different. So, but we're all gonna go through either or and sometimes both, right? But never is it gonna be easy just to get from point A to point B, right? That's not what the life is about, right? So we are all going through something, all going through our own different kind of struggles. And that's where we need to remind ourselves that we're not alone, because we're all going through something. So we all need to be warriors of light and be compassionate with what your neighbor's going through, and not compare and contrast as well, because remember that we all have different karmic depths as well. Someone might seem like they have it better off than you, but you don't know what the work that they've done in past lives, or even in this life, right? Maybe they've already been very advanced in their healing. So there's no point and no service to yourself to compare yourself to where someone else is at, because you have no idea what their story is. And they might have endured a lot of pain and struggle already, and suffering even, that you might not even be aware of. So we can't basically judge a book by its cover, right? That's the classic saying. Someone might look like they're all happy and beautiful, happy and just, go dandy, you can say, on the outside, but on the inside, it might be the complete opposite. So again, that's a reminder to all of us. I think now it's time to definitely bring in a little bit of a guidance through our oracle reading, and just a little bit more insight into the chakras that are being activated. And I do have good news for you all. There's this book that I've been working on for 2 years, ever since I opened my business, and it's a chakra book, which is educational, has meditations and a lot of healing practices for each chakra that will be published and released soon. So I'm excited, because this is one of my goals, to have it ready before the new year so that you all may purchase it. And in the new year, what I definitely want to add to that book is actual video series, like meditations and even yoga sessions, sequences that go along with each chakra. That's been kind of like one of my visions that I've had for this project, and it's called Heal from the Inside Out. It's your chakra, your little chakra book, basically, that you can take along with you. And whenever you are feeling out of alignment or weird, refer to it and then just open up a page, and that's what you need to work on. So I'll be definitely bringing in more information about that as soon as it gets released. And I know I've been mentioning this for quite some time, but this is definitely the moment for me to put this into action. So I'll be right back with our oracle reading, and I hope you're enjoying this event so far. All right, so let's get cozy again. I want to actually say something before we get to our reading, is that, you know, I will always show up here, right, as part of being reliable for all of you for this guidance. So also, you know, with the timing of my spirituality retreats, know that whenever I release my videos, it's because it's meant to be heard in that moment. You know, I usually don't always, you know, show up on the day of. Well, today is an exception because today's Friday and we have this full moon in Taurus. But by the time that I upload the video and, you know, edit it and all, it usually doesn't get uploaded to the weekend, right? And that's okay, because whatever it is that I'm speaking about right now is because whenever it is released to all of you, that's when you need to hear the messages. So definitely keep that in mind. You know, I know that my video timing is different than, you know, maybe anybody else who does these events, but I always keep this as unique as possible as well. So just trust in that, and let's get started with our reading. So we're gonna begin with some chakra cards, because I do feel that there are chakras being activated, especially the third eye. So if you've been dealing with headaches, I've been dealing with this for the past few days. It's finally gone now. So I do think that this has to do with the third eye and also the crown chakra. And I have been getting a lot of revelations these past 4 days, but to be specific, these past 4 days I've been also resting more. And I feel like now, today, Friday, with this full moon in Taurus, I've been like rejuvenated, and I definitely feel a restart energy, which is also what's coming in with this full moon. It's a restart, fresh beginning for something new, a new cycle that we're stepping into. And we are already approaching Thanksgiving next week, and then we are in December, and time flies, right? But it's been quite the roller coaster. All right, so we have the sacral chakra, which I did mention, inspired innovation. This is definitely like the main theme. A lot of this has been in autumn, which ironically it's orange season, right? But it definitely has been the most creative season of the whole year. I can even say that. And even in my own personal life, it's the most creative that I felt. And it's been also very much like our best artwork, our best art during these moments. So keep it up, it's the energy, and just continue, because remember, art is a different way of channeling God. So keep doing these artworks. These projects that are gonna fuel us up, keep us in the light, and just create something beautiful. That's what life's about, right? Nature is beautiful because guess what? It was created by God himself, his most original artwork, as are we, right? So this is beautiful. It's definitely kind of bringing in like this Genesis from the Bible energy. And again, the Adam and Eve, which is definitely the twin flames coming together. And because this is what God wanted, right? He wanted the equal match to the masculine, which was Adam. And then Eve was made by his own ribs, right? So they are one of the same soul. So this is something that's coming up, reminding us, because Taurus and this full moon as well is like uniting what's been partially separated. Think of it, this is a partial lunar eclipse, I believe, right? Or it might be a full. I think it's a partial lunar eclipse, because there's another lunar eclipse coming up soon. So think about it, it's the separated embryos, right, from the egg, that are being reunited because they are magnets to each other. And it's probably to create something very creative for the spiritual mission, which is what I've been channeling with my presentations. And I will be having more presentations at the end of this year. So definitely stay on the lookout. So it says you have the ability to resolve tides of envy and fear with stability. So again, you see, these are these energies that I was coming up. But remember, if we get in touch with the Course in Miracles, which that series has been completed in my spiritual book club and my School of Light, we learn that we are always to choose the route of love, which is the opposite of fear, created by the ego, and which brings about emotions such as envy or insecurities, doubts, all of these very low vibrational emotions that will keep you stuck in to the victim consciousness, and we want to rise above that. That's part of what spiritual ascension is about. What soul evolution is, rising above human distortions and seeing the light, being our higher self, embodying our higher self in this life. You are courageous and enthusiastic, creating what needs to become in order to move forward with your life. Your energy is inspired and activated by your innovative drive. The more, I guess, curious we stay, that's when we're going to be getting these inspirations. So about trying new things, right? Keep experimenting. There's no right or wrong, right? Every failure teaches a lesson, and then of course every win is a victory. So just keep trying. In turn, you inspire and motivate others to also achieve their fullest potential. You are a beacon of light and possibility. Remember, there's infinite potential to create great things. What new ideas are coming to you, and how can you bring them into being? So this is about manifesting our visions. Revel in this moment of inspiration and let it help you birth new beauty in the world. Beautiful energy. Work with the herb cinnamon, which is a great autumn herb to work with. Crystal goldstone, and this is the sacral chakra. It's the number 15 as well, which I think that this is about these magical new changes that we are making that's going to bring about these new beginnings. So definitely that's an energy. And we got the earth star chakra, which is getting this ancestral guidance. I'm also feeling, again, the Atlanteans coming in. They are our ancestors. Cosmic exchange to create this harmony, right? Harmony also with our projects, maybe filling in that missing puzzle piece. We can get this by connecting with our ancestors, the Akashic records. Feel the totality of the cosmos within you, above you, around you, and beneath you. There is a fountain of light that circulates through the soles of your feet up to your crown and back again, healing you, grounding you, connecting you to all that is. So this is definitely grounding work that we need to do. Again, Taurus is all about groundedness, right? So what grounds you? You are asked to do more of that. Maybe it's going out in nature, taking a walk. Maybe it's movement. Maybe it's just sitting in silence. What grounds you? Maybe it's meditation, more yoga, eating healthy organic foods from nature. That is very grounding, right? Especially grounding root vegetables like sweet potatoes. That's something that's huge in autumn season, right? During the winter. So incorporate more of that into your diet. We have, you are worthy of this divine flow of healing light, and you are a channel of it as well. You are always in the embrace of the all. Rest in that knowing. Work with also frankincense resin, which, remember, this is one of the gifts that Jesus baby received on his birthday, Christmas Day. Christmas is approaching. We have Advent coming up soon. So I'll definitely be doing a lot of activities for that. My favorite season of the year. Should I say, like, before autumn? So my favorite is always Christmas first, and then autumn, and then everything else. So then we have divine wisdom. This is what we are receiving through our third eye and crown chakra during these times to help us create more stability in our life and also open up opportunities. I'm seeing the Jupiter signal here. So, you know, whatever doors have closed in your life, know that God doesn't close doors without opening a window. Okay, and that's what we need to trust. If you thought that that door that you were going through was the way for you or the place to be, if God is shutting the door on you, trust that it's for a higher purpose and a higher reason that we have no idea, right? Because God sees everything behind the scenes. And God will give you a window to go through, to climb out through and go through another door. He will never leave you empty-handed or out in the cold, right? Kind of seeing like the Five of Wands energy card. He will never leave you out in the cold. If anything, He is going to warm you up even more and protect you even more. So this is what's coming up, right? Feel like moving in a new direction. Again, this is these detours that we're all being guided towards, these pivots. You radiate with divine wisdom. You are a teacher to many, especially by your lived example of beauty and grace. Trust your insight and the messages that your guides are sending you, you see. By trusting your wisdom, you avoid sabotage and fear-based decisions. So if you try to force a door that is already closed and locked on you, and you try to make it happen, that's acting out of impulsivity. That's a fear-based decision. This could be a relationship, this could be a place, this could be a situation, it could be a job, it could be anything in your life, right? It could be even a habit. So what are you sabotaging yourself with is the question. Are you surrounded by the right people? Definitely a huge question. So allow your mind to relax and welcome a new level of consciousness. Make note of the visions and information that you receive and use them to faithfully pursue the path of your highest calling. Work with the herb lavender. This is about relaxing into our decisions, into the path that we're being thrust upon. And just stay there in calm, right? In peace, because I'm also getting like this also kind of like weird metaphor. A lot of Taurus people, you know, myself included, are very happy people, ironically, which is really weird. I've never really met a very depressive Taurus, okay? Every Taurus is very happy, especially the masculine Tauruses. They are very high vibrational, and I know this sounds a little bit of a stereotype, but I think it's just the way that their sign is, their zodiac sign. They're just very happy people. And I think it's because this nature energy is like a part of them, even if they're not in nature, right? And the only reason, of course, that a Taurus would not be happy is, of course, if they're out of alignment, right? And that's where the attention needs to be taken. Are you spending enough time in nature? Are you eating healthy nature foods? Because Taurus is all about nature, right? Take a look at myself. You know, my health and wellness brand is like all about natural foods, natural everything, right? Because that's me. And I resonate with the natural, like meditation, yoga, exercise, movement, things that are very grounding. And, you know, my soul coaching brand is very the airy part of me, which that's where my other kind of astrological placements come in, because I do have other placements other than Taurus in my chart, and that's where that takes over. But my main energy is very Taurus. So this is, and the reason why I bring this up is because we just came out of a new moon in Scorpio, and I've also met a lot of Scorpions in my life. You know, ironically, it's the opposite of Taurus, right? I did mention this last event. It's the opposite literally on the zodiac. Taurus and Scorpio, they're like opposite personalities as well. Tauruses can be a little bit like I said, more like impulsive with going with just what feels good. And that might not always be the right decision, right? Because that's impulsive decisions. Whereas a Scorpio overthinks things and they always hold back because they don't want to make impulsive decisions. They're, if anything, too careful. But they can also be very somber and very much like just even pessimistic at times. I've met Scorpions that way. But they're very highly intuitive as well. But more, they really thrive with going into the shadows. And again, it's like the opposite of what a Taurus is, which thrives more in the light, in nature, in daylight even. But I feel like we are being asked to combine the two, not be afraid of the dark, which is what this new one in Scorpio taught us in facing our shadows. But now with this full moon in Taurus, I feel like we need to celebrate now more in the light. I feel like that's definitely what's going to help us to heal and close this dark cycle that we've all been through. Like a dark night of the soul, I feel collectively has been going on. And it's only taught us lessons and perhaps fortified qualities or part of our character that has needed to be mastered during this past moon cycle that we just went. Remember that the full moon is always the closing of the moon cycle that we just went through. So between now and the next new moon, which is always 2 weeks in between, it's kind of like a blank. But we are talking about that blank in this event, right? So just think about that. We've closed a cycle. So we're being asked to start something new. Starting like this weekend to the next, starting Monday. Because these next 2 weeks until the next new moon is gonna even thrust us even further into our future and even what the next year and a half is gonna bring. Remember January, we're starting a very new astrological period. January 2022, which is going to last a year and a half, and this has to do, I think, with the Venus transit. But we are in Venus shadow during these times. This is also very important because Venus shadow, I believe, is already we're in Venus shadow. So it's Venus shadow, and we were in Venus shadow during the Scorpio season between the new moon and the full moon, and now we're in Venus retrograde. Hence, through the shadows, we've been getting revelations, deep insights, and we've been reflecting a lot. And now with the retrograde, think about it. A retrograde is kind of like going backwards. We're being asked to go backwards to something that perhaps we went backwards before, maybe it's like related to a major turning point in Venus is always like May season, because that is Taurus season. So again, why I mentioned May. So something, whatever happened in May, you're being asked to go back to that, right? Whatever you were doing in May. And this retrograde is gonna last, we have like December, I think it's gonna last all the way to March, to be honest. And it's gonna be Venus retrograde in Capricorn. Capricorn brings a lot of obviously strict energy, but also like just discipline and needing to work hard behind the scenes. So it might feel like, again, like a challenge and a struggle to many. And for others, if you're on the wrong path, trust me that God is going to make it known. And it's going to be very difficult, because it's like you can also be kind of thrown into prison if you've been bad, right? Like it's kind of like Christmas coming up, Santa's coming up and showing us and asking us, have you been naughty or nice this year? And determining that answer, whether you've been naughty or nice, is going to determine where you're going to go and your experience for these next few months, all the way to March 2022. So that's intense, because I know I've been nice and I've been good on my journey, so I can expect only great things, as all of you who have been good. But if you perhaps have been out of alignment, then it's just going to be a very much like just like a strict lesson, and might be even kind of like a detention energy, right? Like in school. But you're gonna learn from that. Interesting that I just brought up, you know, my job with juvenile delinquency, because this is how I would explain it to my children, to my teenagers. You have to pay your dues, right? And you might not like the therapy that's being mandated to you. Hence, you know, when you're like on lockdown, or when you're what is that energy called when these children can't leave their home? Like a house arrest, right? You know, when these children get out of, like, let's say prison for like overnight, let's say they did something really bad, or maybe it wasn't like bad enough, but they still need to be kind of like on a lockdown to make sure that they are serving their time, right? And remember, sometimes even this happens in the military, right? When these when you're in the army, in the military, and you disobey a law or a rule, you need to pay that somehow. You can sometimes be arrested for that, but sometimes you're being asked to do like community service, right? You know, you see people, the community service that usually jail people do is like cleaning up the streets, taking out the trash and stuff from the environment. And these are very like, you know, kind of like dirty work jobs, you can say, because it's kind of like a punishment in a way, right? And I feel like that's kind of like an energy that's coming in, which I know that many, perhaps you might not want to hear, but of course, if you've been good, you know, you have nothing to worry about. But I think it is going to bring in, with this Venus retrograde, it might bring in like a little bit of a hermit energy, especially for the feminines, divine feminines, because divine feminines are ruled by Venus. Venus represents the divine feminine, and I feel like she is retreating back, because with the Venus retrograde, it's like we're not seeing Venus in the sky anymore at night. For all these months, she's in hiding, she's in the dark, because she's working on something beautiful, right? She's kind of like in her tower, you can say. I'm thinking like Einstein, right? They're in their cave, manifesting and alchemizing something original. And again, this is where this Aquarius energy that I started the conversation with comes in, right? But for others, it's a different energy depending on where you're at, right? On your journey. This is what I mean. It's very dependent on your own personal journey. And this is where booking a personal soul coaching session with me comes in, because I can help you with wherever it is that you're at in your journey and what you're dealing with, maybe how to make wiser decisions. This is where I bring my years of therapy and psychology and help each individual. So definitely book a consultation if you want more guidance for your personal life. christianramirez.com/booking. There's a current sale going on. Don't miss out. And I'm available right now. So that's what I feel like is really coming in. So that's very interesting energy. So definitely, you know, make sure that you're, you know, choosing your emotions wisely with whatever it is that's being thrown at you, whatever God is putting in front of you as your next experience, because it's gonna be for your own good, okay? No matter what it is, whether it's good or bad, or it might feel like bad, because remember, nothing is bad. It's always a blessing in disguise. So consider your feelings. And interesting that we got a lot of solar plexus, we got orange sacral chakra energy, creativity. Recognizing and admitting to yourself that you feel angry. So if you're angry with your jurisdiction, you can say, by God on Judgment Day, This is important that you admit to yourself that you're angry, because it means that you're actually considering how you feel. Maybe it's remorse, rather than just reacting as if on autopilot, right? Because remember, I always tell my kids this when they were dealing with some juvenile delinquency felon: are you truly remorseful, or are you just saying this because you want to get out of whatever it is that you're being, asked to do, like therapy, right? And that would determine, of course, not only the course of therapy, but whether or not they were deserving of getting their freedom back, right? Because many of these children are not free if they're under some jurisdiction with the government and with juvenile delinquency, right? So I feel like that's what's coming. You are thinking through what's happening, not just letting rip with your first instinctive habitual response, impulsive energy, right? Anger can be impulsive. What do you do with that anger is going to determine, obviously, the behavior. So we got attract more good, positive expectations, and the law of attraction. So again, what we kind of talked about. Expect only positive experiences. That's how we create a positive life. If you want to attract more good into your life, you need to adopt an attitude of gratitude. So stay grateful. Make sure that you have purchased my gratitude journal that I wrote for 2021. The 2022 gratitude journal is definitely coming up soon. And it's definitely like these colors. It's the metamorphosis that we are all transforming into our fullest potential, blossoming into our fullest butterfly stage. So one of the good things about developing the habit of being grateful is that you will naturally begin to feel more joyful and less concerned about what you have in God. So again, letting go of envy, right? Because you are already grateful for what you have in your life, and you count your blessings. And that's what helps us to feel good and grateful. So positive expectations. Expectation is a powerfully attractive force. Expect the things you want and don't expect the things that you don't want. From the perspective of the law of attraction, what you resist, you attract, because you're powerfully focused on it with emotion. So if there are things that you don't want in your life and you keep resisting them, by constantly thinking that you don't want them, you actually be either bringing them into your life or keeping them there. And then finally, the law of attraction. As the law of attraction vibrates at a particular frequency, it attracts and resonates with other things vibrating at the same frequency, including your thoughts. It works for everyone at all times, attracting it into their lives, whatever they focus on most, whether that is positive or negative. Interesting. And then let's finish off with a woman's body's wisdom card for overall wellness, guidance on how to feel good, pure, and spiritually aligned. We have partnership in reverse, and it says complete and move on. Maybe this is what's needed, completing partnerships in your life that don't serve you and moving towards a greater new path. So there's completions definitely coming in and moving on from something. And we got nurturance and self-care. This reminds me of a sacred woman. And again, complete and move on. We've completed something. But it's very much for a fresh new beginning that's very beautiful. This is beautiful artwork here. Definitely love it. And let's see what's next. What's next, because this is already the completion. And look at this, birthing something new. This reminds me of Mother Mary and Jesus, which is Christmas season. Hierarchy versus partnership. Nurturance and self-care. This is definitely bringing in new energy. This is a card that I've never actually opened up to. What a beautiful card. This little baby is like shining with golden light. And he's actually, this baby, healing the mother just by his touch. There's a lot of like unconditional innocent love here, and I feel like this is also what's coming. It could be just for self, it could be with a new partner, And it could be for a project even. Something that we're really passionate about and we're really nurturing during these times because it's dear to our hearts. That's a beautiful way to end today's spirituality retreat. I am going to be doing something different today for our Sambo healing session. We're going to be taking it out on a bonfire and we're going to be doing our Sambo healing session there. This is a great time of releasing what doesn't serve us. So I feel like we definitely need to bring in this fire energy to burn away all that is no longer resonating with us, right? And that could be anything in life. Remember, that's just in your personal situation. What do you need to release? Write it down in your journal, set your intention, and release it. Be courageous enough to release it. Do whatever it takes as well to release it, and just speak your truth about it. Honesty, vulnerability, and transparency is what's going to give you that courage, that spiritual strength to be able to go after what you really desire. And remember that opportunity is not always going to be knocking at your door. So don't miss out. Don't miss this golden opportunity. Whatever it is that's showing up for you at this time is because that's where you should go. This is the moment to do it. And next year's going to bring in new energy. So focus on what we have now with this full moon in Taurus. This is a very particularly special full moon for me because I'm a Taurus, and for any of you Tauruses out there, you're going to feel this energy very strongly. And just go with it because it's bringing in a lot of abundance, a lot of great things, beautiful expectations, you can say, because we've been expecting beautiful experiences and now it's finally showing up. So let's end today's spiritual talk, and I will see you all for my spirituality retreat Sambo healing session to help us purge even more deeper to the very end, that there's no more left to purge. That's how much we need to release during these times, okay? These next 2 weeks is the final stride and sprint of release to burn out all that is weighing us down energetically, okay? Release that heavy burden energetically from your emotional body, from your mental body. Could be for your physical body as well, right? Maybe that's why you are either experiencing health issues or health symptoms, or maybe you're not feeling your best energy wise, and also releasing from our spiritual body. So cleansing, this is what our spirituality retreats are for, what your salt baths are for, and what meditation is for, right? Meditation definitely clears out your chakras. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. My name is Christy Ramirez and I'm your health and wellness expert. If you want to learn more about all my services, my programs, my membership subscriptions, go to christyramirez.com/health and wellness to learn more, and I hope to see you exclusive there. Namaste. Hello my soul family, welcome to today's spiritual reality retreat and our Sambo healing session for this full moon in Taurus of 2021 and this eclipse that we're in. So we are in an eclipse season. My name is Christy Ramirez and I'm your health and wellness expert. So let us close our eyes today and let us enjoy the scenery, and let us also open up our ear chakras to receive this healing sound frequency that wants to come through us, for us, from higher beings. Cosmic consciousness, cosmic energy and frequency of the highest vibrations possible. Gold energy, let it heal our chakras, let us realign us. Let us spark creativity, inspiration, help us to express ourselves as well, as freely as possible. That's what's called freedom, right? Being able to express ourselves. I feel like we need to express ourselves louder. I feel like many people out there are timid about their truth, and we need to speak up. Inhale courage and exhale and release all that no longer is. Speak up your truth. You are safe and protected in this transition, in this change. I'm getting a vision of almost like a train track that has been, it's been heading in one direction at the fastest speed possible. And suddenly there's a new train track that opens up, and the train has an option to go either A or B. And we're being guided to go into this new direction that's just opened up for us, which is B. Because what we were doing in A is not working. And perhaps it's going to lead you to where you do not want to go. It's like that dark castle at the end of that train track, right? Think of like Hogwarts in Harry Potter. And the other one is actually going to guide you towards heaven on earth, paradise. And I do feel like that is the energy that is wanting to come through. Make that detour, that change. And it's a quick decision as well. The train cannot wait for you to overthink this decision. It will just go. And if you take too long and hesitate at last minute, which I see many people do when they're driving on the highway, it's like taking an exit, right, on the highway, and you're unsure whether you should take that exit or not. If you decide at last minute to take the exit, you're gonna crash in that middle ground, right? And that's kind of like the energy that's coming through. Don't crash by waiting too long, because it's gonna basically hurt, right? It's gonna be it's gonna set you back. And so you definitely want to make sure that you are well aware of where you're heading and stay on that path, so that you may have a graceful transition, you see, not needing to brake or make a fast turn that could be dangerous and perhaps even fatal, right? So choose wisely and choose now. Don't wait. We've been given now these 2 weeks to the next new moon to make your decision. But I feel like even this decision is like, time is now. I feel like this decision should have been made with this new one in Scorpio that we just had. And with this full moon in Taurus, it's the completion of thinking over this decision that you are needing to make, and finally completing this decision by making a decision, so that you may move on to the next level, to the next chapter, to this next new thing, this new pathway, right? So that's definitely what's coming through. May we all choose wisely for our highest soul path. May we all choose with the lens of love and light. May we all live in peace, calm, and grace with these new decisions. And may we have beautiful experiences on this new life, this new chapter that's opening up for us, this new door. And we know that it is all for the highest good of all, and according to divine plan, in divine timing and divine order. We surrender, we trust, we have faith, and we just live the experience. We go through the flow. We open our heart and mind to these new opportunities, people, situations, and we are in our high vibrational energy. And that's where we're going towards. Staying high vibrational, staying on mission, doing the light work, and loving it. And that is how we're going to end today's Sambal Healing session. I know it was a quick one, but this is a quick energy I'm feeling. This is very quick, a lot of heat coming in, but it's going to fire up us for our new life, literally. By burning away the old, fire and passion for the new. Thank you, God, for being with us here. Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, which is helping us with our projects, giving birth to these new ideas, innovations. And we thank Archangel Raphael for helping to heal us to be able to step into this new direction. And of course, Jesus Christ and Mother Mary, always here with us present, our Father in heaven. And thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all for the next new moon. Thank you again, and namaste. Last but certainly not least, actually, as we silence our mind, we allow for the genius of the divine, opening up this gateway through our crown chakra to receive these insights, the answers that we've been searching for. And we will receive it, but be receptive, open-minded, clear your mind of what you think you know, past conditioning, and just trust this new way. God is guiding you. Follow the light in this dark tunnel and know that you will come out the other side in this paradise, heaven on earth, healed, whole, and in peace. Namaste.